How to be a funny ENTP. Well, the truth is, you can't. No, I'm joking. Actually, the funniest people are ENTPs. What's up, everybody? My name is Lev. I'm here today to talk to you about how to be a funny ENTP. Guys, honestly, if you look at it through the list of ENTPs that there are, you got guys like Jim Carrey, Stephen Colbert, Conan O'Brien, Ellen DeGeneres, even though Ellen just absolutely kind of has a bit of controversy going on, doesn't matter. ENTPs, they can be some of the funniest kind of people, and it doesn't just because you don't have SC doesn't mean you can't be funny. You use people's expectations and your foresight and movement and all your characteristics to be funny. But how exactly can you maximize the funny out of ENTPs? Now, this information is coming from a little bit of C.S. Joseph and a little bit of Charisma on Command, just putting it all together and making the most out of it. So, let's start with number one, self-deprecation. Now, what you do with self-deprecating jokes is it actually allows the other person to be comfortable with you, and it actually kind of makes them actually kind of like you a little bit more, kind of like in an underdog kind of way. Because you're being honest, you're being open with yourself, and you have a little bit of humility, so the other person looks at that and they go, wow, okay, I actually kind of can soften, ease up a little bit, especially NTJs and all with their they do their status and all that, and they do want to feel a little bit higher than and even SFP, just all FI users, they tend to like it when you self-deprecate, and so use that to your advantage. It's a lot of fun to use. Just as long as you have a good core within yourself, you can use self-deprecation to actually make people want and like you more. The next thing is poking fun. Now, you don't want to be poking fun at a person when it comes to just things that they just can't control about themselves and is core to their identity. But if it's something for an example, is if somebody's stuttering and all that, you don't want to necessarily poke fun at them. That's not nice. But what you want to do is that if they say they stumble on their words and they're just a person of high confidence, then you can make a joke about that. It's not going to offend them. They can take it. Just be sure that these people are of similar status or ranking to you and or higher, because those people can actually take it. Whereas if you're going to do that to somebody that is kind of below, it's not to say we want to be comparing apples and or people of different hierarchies. It's to say just know your place and know when to use this. But it can be a lot of fun. It's pretty effective, and you can just spin words around from people if they said one thing and instead said another thing. You can pull that off, and it tends to be really funny. So the next one is you might want to also find a way to compliment them while giving a bit of an ego boost. So as in with just to backtrack, with this, ENTPs tend to be informative, or they are informative, and the thing is that subtext is probably the most key thing that they can use to really amplify how funny they can be. So when it comes down to it, it's ENTPs, when they say something, it tends to be kind of the opposite of what they actually said. It's all underneath, and all the subtext underneath that actually is critical to what they're saying. So if you can find a way to boost somebody's ego and find a way to joke about them while also saying hey, look, you're successful, you're good looking, you're a kind person, that would be huge. That'd be just fantastic to pull off. It's not going to be you gotta find key scenarios in which you can do that, but people are gonna love you for doing something like that. The next thing is ENTPs. The last thing I know about ENTPs is that, or the last thing I'd ever see from an ENTP is being status quo. Status quo is just not their kind of personality. They are chaotic. They are movement people. They are abstract. They're quite pragmatic. So seeing an ENTP being status quo is kind of a bit too SJ for me. So ENTPs, here's what you got to do. Seeing as you don't have SC, you're not really too aware of how other people react. How other people react to how you are. That's actually not a bad thing, in the sense of it actually enables you to just go out and do something. Yes, people are going to maybe be a bit cringe at certain things that you do, but again, a lot of it is trial and error. But sometimes you can act silly and playful in a way that would actually make you hilarious at the same time. So the thing is that a lot of SJs, such as myself, we're kind of hesitant on trying to do something silly and playful and over the top, whereas ENTPs, because they lack SE, sometimes they just end up just doing it, and then it's just something that we've all just wanted to do within ourselves. It kind of allows us to be our more childful and playful self. So ENTPs, if you can master that, oh dude, you'll be the life of the party. It'll be so much fun to be around. The next thing is, though, just make sure you're not poking fun at another person's identity. I said that with the poking fun part. So I'm just going to move on. Next is the fake out. Now the fake out is kind of like what I was saying, what I was doing in the very beginning, where I was like, how can ENTPs be funny? They can't. So it's kind of like this. What you want to do is somebody asks you something like, how are you doing? And then you say, terrible. So like you start off with a sentence like terrible, where in reality, you're actually having a lot of fun or having a good time. But then, so how you want to say it is, again, terrible as in like awful, but in reality, it's good. So now what you want to say is, with that same tone as you said terrible, you say, oh man, like it's just terrible, man. I was at the beach. I was having such a good time. I took a shower. It's just an awful day kind of deal, right? So you see how that could be a bit funny, because it's like it's got a different kind of tone to it and a different kind of subtext, like informative people can use, to being like, and it plays on people's expectations as well. You know, with your any hero, you can like change the future, all things considered. So people are expecting when you say terrible to be like, oh no, what the heck happened? And then all of a sudden you spin it around and say, oh, it was actually a fantastic day. But you say it with the tone and the voice to make it sound like it was awful, but it's actually really hilarious. It actually really good. It ends up being really hilarious, and people just love it. It's something that I think when you're in like a date scenario, or when you're in a friend situation, when you hear something like, oh, how was your day? Oh, it was good. It gets boring, you know? If you can change it around and be just a little bit more fun than everybody else, people are instantly attracted to you and think you're a lot more funnier or more fun. One of the two. All right, number 7. This is an interesting one. ENTPs are known to be wearing masks, depending on the person that they're around, depending on the people that they're around. So the thing is that they're kind of like a different character based on who they're with and all that kind of stuff. And that could be used to both an advantage and a disadvantage, but in this case, let's use it to the advantage. So you put on a mask, let's say it's a Darth Vader mask, Kylo Ren mask, whatever, or the mask itself from, Jim Carrey and all that. And you want to embody the character of that mask. So it's like, okay, yes, I can see this as a way to maybe like protect your SI inferior by like not showing off your inner self, but use this for fun. Like you're used to this. You can do this. So how do you make the most out of a character though? You use your voice. You change the way you use your voice to match the certain kind of character that you're trying to portray. The body language, which is like, of course, like the hand gestures and gesticulation and facial features and all that, and the speed of which you talk. So like if you want to like imitate an Aussie, like I don't now you see what I mean about like being silly and all that kind of stuff. It's just like SJs, we're kind of like, I'm thinking like, oh shoot, how do I be like an Aussie? But like with my brother, at times I can totally be like, oh yeah mate, gonna be a great time, great day. And it's like the Big Les show. Gonna get some hash cookies and all that. All right, I'm gonna get demonetized for that. But again, you see how I like changed my voice to fit more of an Australian. But now you also gotta add in a little bit of body language and like, okay, I got one now. I'm just gonna do it on the spot here. I'm really good with a Jeremy Clarkson impersonation. Tonight on Top Gear, tonight Richard Hammond goes on a penguin trip or whatever it is. You hear like I changed my voice to fit Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson, by the way, is just was a former Top Gear. Now he is Grand Tour on Amazon. Didn't really change too much about body language, but the speed as well. How I said, like, tonight, Richard Hammond does this and all blah, 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 right? That's trying to mimic Jeremy Clarkson and trying to embody his character. That's what ENTPs can do really well, better than ESTJs, like evidently right now. So use that. People are engrossed. They then can imagine, all right, a little bit of abstraction. They can imagine that person being that other person as well. And it's like it takes them to an entirely different realm, which like is the abstract world, right? All right, I can't verify that. Whatever. So comes down to basically you embody a character, you bring people back to a time where it was like this kind of scenario, and you act out the entire scenario based on that character. That brings people, like, their attention is so on that, and they want to hear so much more. They want to hear what you have to say and how you say it, and you're just so into it that it's engaging. It really is engaging, and it's super funny when you can pull it off right. Not like me. The last one is to amplify, and by amplify I mean, so here's the thing. Let's say an INTJ, like your golden pair, or ENTJ sets up a joke, whatever. What you can do is you can, once they set a joke, maybe if the premise is right, what you can do is add on top of that joke. So it's like you could take the exact same joke and you can build it up even more. What that does actually is it allows it's one, you actually have listened to the other person, which is, you know, great. People want to be listened to. But also they feel like you're complimenting them, because, which is great for FE users and NE users, is to basically, they're gonna feel liked because, and they're gonna like you because of the fact that you enjoyed their joke, right? And you're complimenting them with your FE child and adding on. It's basically all of this. You're adding on to make something even bigger and grander. So, and then like that's the thing. Maybe there could be a nice back and forth and all that. And it's like a team effort. Everybody wins in this kind of scenario. And so, basically, what you want to do as an ENTP is you just want to have fun, in the sense of like, make sure your SI inferior is comfortable, you're with the right people that you can bounce jokes off of, you can, you know, boost them, you can, you know, not necessarily self-deprecate, but you can, you know, make sure that everybody is having a good time, because if you're having a good time, I'm sure everybody's having a good time. So make sure that basically cultivate a good philosophy and good friends. So it's like, let go of, you know, sometimes the harsh realities of the world. It's tough, but at the present moment that you are with like certain kind of people, you can use these things, the fake out, the being silly, the putting on the mask, to amplifying things, to really bring in a lot more fun into your life and also to everybody else. It's gonna make people want you. It's gonna make people like you. Okay. There's other things you can also use, which I'm not gonna like necessarily get into, but think about like using specificity, like TI, like in the sense of like, instead of just saying like, oh, a bunch of cookies, you can say a box of Tim Tams, like whatever, like as an example, like just be as specific as possible when it comes to certain things, because sometimes specificity is so absurd and so odd that it's kind of hilarious. Also, like, take things maybe out of context is another way of having fun with certain things, because it's just like one person can look at a certain kind of thing and look at it as like, oh yeah, this is in my realm, like this is what this is. But if you were to take it out of context and like, let's say somebody that's like a lot older, like a grandmother, were to look at something, maybe they'd see something else. Or you can use abstraction, you can use so much to make yourself hilarious. Just breathe and let go. And if you can't let go of letting go. Just find good people in your life, and this will all come naturally to you. I mean, I know ENTPs, they get a bad rep for their SE demon, but and they do want to be comfortable, and they can come off a little bit weird at times to especially us SJs. But honestly, you guys are great. You guys are awesome people, and yeah, I hope you can use this to help out with certain social situations. Find some NJs and maybe some SPs, especially ESFPs and ISFPs, and of course your golden pair and silver pair with the INTJ and ENTJ. And I think you're gonna find and one last thing. I think I'm gonna end it off on this. Don't try and do all these things all at once unless you've gone and mastered, not necessarily mastered, but got a handle of one of these things at least. So take one of these things right now and apply it in your life, whether it's the fake out, whether it's poking fun at somebody, or amplifying, or putting on a mask. One thing at a time. Take it, practice it, and just keep going with it. I think the easiest one to start out with would be maybe the fake out, and then building it off from there. In fact, I use some of these things as well, and I've gotten good results out of it. Let's just say that. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, share, and I hope to see you guys soon. I'll be coming out with more videos, and actually an interesting video on my future plans. So anyways, guys, cheers. Have a good one. This is Lev signing off. This is so stupid sometimes, my stupid endings.